لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا وسيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم. أما بعد, we want to continue with our book Al-Farq Bayna An-Naseehah وَالتَّعْيِينِ, the difference between advice and insult. The difference between advising someone and what? Insult. Advice is allowed and encouraged. It is called An-Naseehah. At-Tibyān and Al-Ghībah, they are discouraged and prohibited. But the two of them have one thing in common. In advice and Naseehah, you want to mention someone's fault to him. Also in At-Tibyān, you are mentioning his fault. The first one, you are correcting him and you want guidance from him. The second one, you just want to disgrace him. Do you know the difference? So Imām Ibn Rajab, he has a book in just 19 pages where he was explaining the difference between An-Naseehah and what? At-Tibyān. Because inside Naseehah, you have to mention his thoughts. And inside At-Tibyān, you also have to mention his thoughts. So sometimes, many of the people cannot differentiate between the two. When they get Naseehah, they take it to mean what At-Tibyān. You advise them, stop doing this, do this well. That's the simplest Naseehah. I always do. Here, when I find somebody sitting badly, I say, sit down properly. Now, someone can get another, he told you to sit down properly. He thinks that Naseehah is what? So because he's not able to differentiate that, no, this is Naseehah. He wants me to do it correctly. So sometimes too, people will be making ta'īn. They will be insulting the people and abusing them and making al-ghībah, backbiting. But they want you to accept that they are making Naseehah. And there is a big difference between An-Naseehah and what? So we want to make Naseehah. We don't want to make At-Tibyān. For us to be able to do that, we have to study the book that makes us to understand the difference between what? An-Naseehah and what? That is why we are studying this book by Al-Farq Al-Hamdulillah. Today we prepared, inshallah, we will read further today, inshallah. So he said, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Look at your copy or the copy of someone near you. Is that Naseehah or Ta'iyyun? Naseehah. It's Naseehah. So Ibn Rajab said, Rahimahullah, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alamin. وصلاته وسلامه على إمام المتقين وخاتم المنبيين وآله وصحبه أجمعين والتابعين له بإحسان إلى يوم الدين. أما بعد فهذه كلمات مختصرة جامعة في الفرق بين النصيحة والتعليم، فإنهما يشتركان في أن كل منهما ذكر الإنسان بما يكره ذكره، وقد يشتبه الفرق بينهما عند كثير من الناس، وقد يشتبه الفرق بينهما عند كثير من الناس. Many of the people will be confusing the difference between An-Naseehah and what? At-Tibyān. So we have to deal with the difference between them. So he said, Rahimahullah, وَاللَّهُ الْمُوَفِّقُ لِلصَّوَابِ. It is Allah alone that guides somebody towards his correct. Why? Why is he saying this? Even if he explains the difference between Naseehah and Ta'yīn, and some people study this book, they will still not stop making Ta'yīn. They will still be making Ta'yīn, even after knowing the difference between An-Naseehah and that Naseehah is maqbula, mandooba ilayh. Naseehah is accepted and encouraged. They will still be making Ta'yīn instead of making Naseehah. The only person who will help us to protect us to do what is right at every time is who? Allah. That's why he said, Wallahu muwaffiqu lis-sawab. It is Allah alone that can guide a person to what is right. Another reason why he could have made that dua is to pray for himself, that Allah make it easy for me when I'm making this difference between An-Naseehah and what? Grant me tawfiq, grant me success. He said, Rahimahullah, أَعْلَمْ أَنَّ ذِكْرَ الْإِنسَانِ بِمَا يَكْرَهُ مُحَرَّمٌ. You should understand that mentioning a person with something that he does not like is prohibited. إِذَا كَانَ الْمَقْصُودُ مِنْهُ مجرد الظن والعيب والنفس. If the intention behind your mentioning is fault, is what? مجرد العيب. You just مجرد الظن. You just want to disgrace him. والعيب. You just want to find fault. والنفس. You just want to show his shortcomings. That's all. You just want to bring him down. That's all. You just want to show to the world he has a fault too. As if you don't have a fault. As if you don't have aid or owe you. If the intention is let me just bring him down, let me just show to the world that he has faults, then it is not correct. It's not law. فأما إن كان فيه مصلحة لعامة المسلمين خاصة لبعضهم. But if you're mentioning him to be سفهاء الأحلام حدثاء الأسنان, you are saying about him that he has milk teeth in his mouth regarding the matters of knowledge. And he's not thinking properly. So that when the rest of the Muslims hear him any other time, they know that he's a child who is not qualified to speak about what he's speaking about. There's fire. Then you can be mentioning those faults about him. Why? You want the people to understand. This man acting from inside the box, he has little sense, and his knowledge is small. So anytime they see him talking from inside the box, they know that, it is that boy. His mouth still has snake teeth, and his sense is still small. Forget about it. So he said, Rahimahullah, إِنْ كَانَ فِيهِ مَصْلَحَةٌ لِعَامَةِ الْمُسْلِمِينَ. If your mentioning his faults has benefits for the generality of the Muslims, خاصة لبعضهم, Or for some of them, like one person who wants to marry, one person who wants to do business, they come to you. Or a student learning from a Shaykh, he comes to you, please, this Shaykh, he said something, that person, I know him, he's like this, he's like this. Don't go there. Don't learn from him. If it is upon goodness like this, the Shaykh says, وَكَانَ الْمَقْصُودُ مِنْهُ. And what you intend from your mentioning his fault is تَحْصِيلَةِ الْمَصْلَحَةِ. You want to achieve those benefits that are contained in mentioning his faults. فَلَيْسَ بِمُحَرَّمٍ. It is not haram to mention his faults. بَلْ مَنْدُوبٌ إِلَيْهِ. In fact, it is encouraged to mention those faults. He said, رحمه الله, وقد قرر علماء الحديث هذا في كتبهم في الجرح والتعديل. The scholars of hadith, علماء الحديث, محدثون, قد قرر علماء الحديث هذا في كتبهم في الجرح والتعديل. The scholars of hadith have affirmed this point. Which point is that? That if there is maslaha amma or maslahatun li'ammatil muslimin or li'khasatihim, some Muslims have some benefits to gain in your mentioning the faults of a person. They mention the faults. If it is the whole world of the Muslims, then go to the media. If it is some Muslims in one house, go to that house. If they want to marry a girl to a man, and you know the man to be of bad character, you go to their family, you don't go to social media. Why? It does not concern the rest of the Muslims on social media. You go to the house where they want to marry the girl to that bad man. You go and just tell. I saw that there is a man coming to your house. He wants to marry your daughter. I know that man very well. He is like this. He doesn't pray. He doesn't pick his beard. He backbites a lot. He does. So together. So you don't go to social media and start announcing that one man wants to marry. His name is Adi. He wants to marry one girl. Her name is Rashida. In number 4, Okeola Street. Okeoniti, Ilo. Everybody should know it's not supposed to. I'm just saying my own. I'm just saying it. So you don't go to announce to everybody. If the maslaha is a khaswati, you go to those people. If it is to just one person, you go to that one person. If when you tell this false to the father of the girl alone, it will be sufficient. It is him alone you should tell. Why? The aspect regarding what you want to do is that it is haram. But it is just jaiz for the condition. Will have. Otherwise, it is not right for you to mention the faults of another person. Did he not say, alayhi salatu wasalam, man satara musliman, satarahu Allahu fi dunya al-akhirah. If you cover the faults of the Muslim, Allah will cover your own faults too. In this world, in the hereafter. So it means it is encouraged to cover our faults. So the basic rule about mentioning the faults of the Muslims is that don't do it. So if the maslaha is for everybody, mention it to everybody. If the maslaha is just for 1 or 2 persons, mention it to 1 or 2 persons. And it will end there. In fact, the scholars say, if it is sufficient for you to mention 1 fault, you know 4 faults about him. When you mention only 1, it will achieve the purpose. Don't mention the other 3, mention only 1. So let us know that our religion does not like you to be propagating the faults of you know why? Everybody has a fault. You who want to speak about the fault of another person, do you have faults or not? So our religion will become where everybody is speaking about the faults of the next person. You know what it will remain? We will not see anybody amongst us as righteous. Nobody amongst us will be righteous. So it will be as if righteousness is a goal that cannot be achieved. Is that true? Is that true that righteousness is a goal that cannot be achieved? It's not true. When last did you see a brother carry his son to somebody, pray for him, hoping that that person is righteous? When last did you see that? Or one ummu from the ummahat carry her son or daughter to another ummu. This ummu, she prays, she does this. Please, ummu, pray for this, my daughter. Do you see that happen? You know why it doesn't happen? We always see our faults and manifest the faults as if righteousness means that you must not have a fault. The Prophet said, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, kullu bani Adam. What did he call them? Khatta'u. Wa khayru khatta'in at-tawwabun. There is not anyone amongst the children of Adam except he is khatta'u. Every time he's making mistakes. Every time he's making mistakes. Every time he's making mistakes. Every time mistakes. But the best of them are those who follow up their mistakes with what? At-tawbah. Repent. That's why it says, وَتُوبُوا إِلَى اللَّهِ جَمِيعًا أَيُّهَا الْمُؤْمِنُونَ. What does that mean? It means all of you are making mistakes. تُوبُوا إِلَى اللَّهِ كَيْفَ جَمِيعًا, all of you. If you don't understand it from جَمِيعًا, what did he say after that? أَيُّهَا الْمُؤْمِنُونَ. O you people of Imām. لَعَلَّكُمْ تُفْلِحُونَ. So everybody has mistakes. So if there's a benefit in your talking about the error of the Muslim, talk about that error within the limits that that benefit will be achieved. So this matter, قرر علماء الحديث, the scholars of hadith. We also mentioned other circumstances where we can mention the faults of the Muslims. Go. How many did we mention? 6 of them. The first one is what? In that tafallumi ila sultan. You want to complain to constituted authority. This man, I know him, he stole something. Police come and arrest him. Or he cheated you, you are arrested. Report him to police. The second one is what? In the isti'anati li taghyiri al-munkar. You want to seek help for a particular evil to be stopped. Somebody is upon an evil. You want to tell somebody who can tell him to stop. When you are telling somebody who can tell him to stop, you know you will tell him about the faults of that person. So you are making isti'ana. You seek help. لِتَغْيِيرِ الْمُنْكَرِ, because you want to fix something that is bad. The third one, in the istifta, you want to ask for a fatwa. Ya Shaykh, I am a man, I slept, woke up one day, and my wife carried my children and ran away. What should I do? What the woman has done, carried the children and ran away, is that lawful? It's not lawful. So you are speaking about her. What is bad? But you want fatwa, you want guidance. Even here the scholars say, if you don't mention her name, it is better. If you can get the fatwa without mentioning the person's name, it is okay. But that if you mention the name, it is also okay. But it's better not to mention the name. So you can see the religion is always telling us cover. Wallahi, if we stop covering, we will not pray behind anybody. If not for cover, we will not pray behind anybody. I tell you this. May Allah protect all of us. So, and then there must be righteousness. Righteousness must not be presented as a goal that cannot be achieved. There's righteousness. Wallahi, there is righteousness. And there are people amongst us seated here that Allah likes. It doesn't mean that you don't ever make a mistake. So the scholars of hadith قرروا في كتبهم في الجرح والتعديل. They have established all this. The first thing from other areas where we can expose the faults of people, when we seek judgment to police or constituted authority, when we ask for help to change what is bad, when we make for fatwa. The other one is what? After تحذير المسلمين من الشر, you want to warn the rest of the Muslims. I've heard a lot of these brothers in Lagos who say, one brother, he went to gather money, he said he has a farm. They gathered 200 million, 500 million, 30 million, 10 million. He just started one farm, wuru, 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 wuru. After that, they didn't hear anything again. This kind of a person comes again to start another business in Oshobo after Lagos. And we heard what he did in Lagos. Those of us in our small town here, what should we say? Hey, Ayyuhal Muslimun, oh people of Imām, this man, he did like this somewhere, where? Do we understand? Nuhadhirul Muslimin. We will warn the Muslims against the evil of that man. From that is that someone is reporting a hadith. Amongst the reporters of hadith, the scholars will tell us that it's da'if. The scholars say this man is da'if. They will say it's matrukul hadith. They say it's mubtadi. They will start telling us the reason. They will say it's sayyidul hifz. Hadithuhu lean. Zagayru mustaqim. Who they will be saying akhbar, expressions about him. They will be telling us, don't report hadith from him. He's not a reliable person. May Allah protect all of us. The other one is what? The fifth one. إذا كان من المجاهرين بالفسق والبدعة. If that person is from those who publicly commit sin, we also will speak about him publicly. We reject him publicly. He commits sins openly. This person did so thing. We talk to him also. We will mention his faults and refute him also. If he is a person of bid'ah, he comes in the public with his bid'ah, we tell him about the bid'ah also. The last one is in that ta'arif. When we want to make people to know him. I have a friend, he taught me tajweed when I was younger than this. His two eyes are going. So if we were discussing with one of the brothers, I said, how is so person? I mentioned him by his kunya. The brother did not know him until I said, the one who has issues in his eyes. Did I intend to insult him? What am I doing? I want him to be known that that is the person I'm referring to. That's why in the north, if a person is Mekuturu, say Angiamush. In fact, they can be calling him Mekuturu, you say, hey, he will answer. Koko. I have a friend. His father sells rams in Zango. Near to do Wada in Kaduna. So this one, the father is called Meirago because he's selling ram. Wallahi, I have heard it many times. His friend will call him Rago. He say, hey. It is his father that is selling Rago. But they are calling him himself. What are they calling him? Rago. He will answer. It is not a fight at all. He understands that they are not abusing him. They are just calling him by a name that is easy for them. Because of his father, who is what? Miracle. That Baba is dead. I knew him. May Allah forgive him. So, للتعريف. And this is common in the books of hadith. You find the scholars of hadith, they are taught. Sulaiman ibn Mihran, Imām Al-A'mash, he has something in his eyes. Al-A'mash is the person who has something in his eyes. There was Al-A'raj also. Many. Al-Abbas. There's Humayd ibn al-Tawil. In the case of Humayd ibn al-Tawil, he's not Tawil. He's just Tawil relative to his neighbor who was also called what? Humayd. Two Humayd. One Humayd. One Humayd. One is taller, the other one is shorter. So if you want to call the two of them, and they are neighbors, if you say Humayd, they will ask you which one. Then you say what? Tawil. You don't intend to abuse him that he's a tall person. So in all these circumstances, we can mention the faults of the people. So all these issues, قد قرر علماء الحديث في كتبهم قرروا هذا في كتبهم في الجرح والتعديل. They have affirmed all these that we are talking about in their books about what? Al-Jarh wa-Mada wa-Ta'dil. So you see them saying, Fulan Da'if, Fulan Matruk, Fulan Mubtadi. They will be saying the reason why you should not report hadith from him. They know, they studied everybody. They know who is due that his report should be accepted and who is due that his report should be rejected. Since the early times they were doing that. So they mentioned that people to be him in their books. From those who did that was Al-Imām Muslim Rahim. He did that in the Muqaddimah of his Sahih. From those who did that was Al-Imām Shaykh. He did that, he mentioned that in his book Ar-Risala, before Muslim. From those who did that was Al-Imām At-Tirmidhi. He did that in an entire book. If you have Sunan At-Tirmidhi, I hope that our younger brothers would have Sunan At-Tirmidhi. It's a book of Sunnah. Sunan At-Tirmidhi. I'm not saying that you have it online, your computer, on your phone. No. As book, the way. Shabab Salafiyah. Rodin box. Do you have Sunan At-Tirmidhi? Do you look at it if you have it? Sunan At-Tirmidhi has a book appended to it by Imam At-Tirmidhi. That book is called Al-Ilal Al-Saghir. The smaller book on Ilal, hidden defects in Hadith. Because he has two books, Al-Ilal Al-Kabir wa Al-Saghir. So the Saghir, he attached it to his Sunan At-Tirmidhi as an appendage. It will be explaining some of the things he did inside Sunan At-Tirmidhi. Like you write a book, you now write something behind it that will help anybody who reads that your book to understand the book. Like it was there to describe what he means by Al-Hadith Al-Hasan. It was inside his Sunnah. It was inside that he gave his Asanid, Fil Masail Fiqhiyya, in the issues of fiqh, between Tirmidhi and Malik. You will see the isnad of Tirmidhi between him and Malik at the end of Sunan al-Tirmidhi. The isnad between him and Ahmad ibn Muhammad. You will see the isnad there. The isnad between him and Abu Hanifa. Because he was quoting all of them in the Sunnah itself. So he gave his Asani in a book again, different from the Sunnah, at the back of the Sunnah. Here he was saying that because inside Sunan al-Tirmidhi, one of the most difficult books of hadith to study is Sunan al-Tirmidhi. If you are not well grounded in the sciences of hadith, you can't study the book. You will read the hadith, you will be making i'rab, but when you come to the other matters, you will not understand what he's saying. So to make you understand, he gave you a book behind the book to make you understand the book. That is called Al-Ilal Al-Saghir. In Al-Ilal Al-Saghir, he was also explaining that people don't like to hear Rawi Abdullah ibn Abdurrahman Al-Kufi, for example, Da'if, Matruk, La Yuhtaj Bihi, Shaykhun, Salihun, and all these kinds of expressions that the scholars of hadith employ to describe those who report a hadith. He said some people say it is Ghiba. It is not Ghiba. So he affirmed it in Sharh al-Ilal also. Ibn Rajab al-Hanbali, he has the Sharh of Al-Ilal al-Saghir that we are talking about by Imam At-Tirmidhi. He was explaining what At-Tirmidhi was saying. So the scholars of hadith, Ibn Abi Hatim, Abdur-Rahman ibn Abdullah, Abdur-Rahman ibn Muhammad ibn Idris. He also did that in the Muqaddimah of his book Al-Jarh wa Ta'dil, to explain that in this ummah we have a need to tell us the faults of people that will not make us report hadith from them. Why? If you report hadith from them and they have a fault that should make us not to report hadith from them, you will be bringing into the religion of Allah something that is not inside the religion. Or you will be rejecting about the religion something that is part of the religion. So it has a maslaha li'amati al-muslimin. For them to be saying that this one is good to report hadith from him, this one is not good to report hadith from him. It will help us to protect our religion. No, this one is not sahih. This one is not sahih. This one is not sahih. We will not be able to do that unless we know the faults in this. So knowing their faults will be allowed for us. Ibn Rajab said, rahimahullah, وقد قرر علماء الحديث هذا في كتبهم في الجرح والتعديل وذكروا الفرق بين جرح الرواة وبين الغيبة. They mentioned the difference between جرح الرواة, mentioning the faults of those who report hadith, وبين الغيبة, and the difference between that and غيبة. If you say so and so person, no, it's not part of, it's not. You say no, you are speaking about your brother behind you. Say, this is not part of riba. It's not part of riba. The scholars of hadith explained that. وَرَدُّوا عَلَى مَنْ سَوَّى بَيْنَهُمَا مِنَ الْمُتَعَبِّدِينَ وَغَيْرِهِمْ مِمَّنْ لَا يَتَّصِعُ إِلْمُهُ. The scholars of hadith in their books, they refuted those who are saying, no. Subhanallah, don't talk about your brother. Hey. Say, no, I shouldn't talk about my brother. But here, I should talk about him. Say, no, don't talk about him at all. You have little knowledge. The Prophet too, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, he will not talk about the faults of the Muslims. But he has people that he spoke about, alayhi salam. The Quran has people that it spoke about. Allah said, Tabbat yada Abi Lahab wa tab. That is Jarhun li Abi Lahab. Is this clear to us? The Quran there was mentioning the fault of who? Abu Lahab. Allah mentioned his faults. Tabbat yada Abi Lahab. Qarun. Did Allah mention his faults or not? Allah mentioned his faults. Fir'aun. Did Allah mention his faults? It's just for them. For kuffar and munafiqeen. So we have that in the Sunnah also. The Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, once he was speaking with some of the companions, he said, Ni'ma ar-rajulu Abu Bakr, Ni'ma ar-rajulu Umar, Ni'ma ar-rajulu Uthman, Ni'ma ar-rajulu Mu'adh. He was mentioning them one after the other. And then he turned and said, Bi'sa ar-rajulu Fulan, Bi'sa, so and so is a bad person, so and so is a bad person, so and so is a bad person. That is Jabh. It is not riba. The man who was coming to meet the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, this hadith occurs in Al-Adab al-Mufrad. One day a man was coming to the Prophet Muhammad alayhi salam. The Prophet said to Aisha radiyallahu anha, Bix ibn al-Ashira, this boy is the bad boy in their family, in their tribe. He's a bad boy in the tribe. Why did the Prophet say that? The man was behaving like a Muslim, but he was not a Muslim. So much that the people would think that he's a Muslim. So the Prophet warned Aisha, hey, be careful. At the same time, the Prophet does not want to behave to him in a way that it will scare him away. So when he was coming, the Prophet said, look at this man, he's a bad man. But when the man came, what did the Prophet do, alayhi salam? He welcomed him, say, welcome, marhaba, sit down. Why? That one is to encourage him to enter into Islam properly. The other one is to tell the ummah about his actual condition. That one happens too. If someone finds someone with you, and the one they have seen with you is a dubious person with a dubious character. So how then does he come to you? He says, yeah, Shaykh, please, what is the ruling on someone who was bad, who wants to make tawbah? How will he make tawbah? You are explaining. You see, if someone wants to make tawbah, repentance, you have to do this, you have to do this, you have to do this. Someone now comes to pass by you and saw you talking to him. What will the person say? I saw Shaykh talking to that man, and the man is a bad man. So when he leaves, you come to say, hey, come. You see that man I'm talking to? He's just asking me a question, I'm just answering. I know that he's a bad man. Are you making giver? Are you making giver? You are not making giver. You are not making giver. Abu Musa al-Ash'ari. This one occurs in Sunan al-Nasa'i, I think the first or second or third hadith in Sunan al-Nasa'i. Abu Musa al-Ash'ari, some people came to him, radiyallahu anhu. They wanted him to lead them to the Prophet Muhammad alayhi. So he said, come let me go. He did not ask them what they want. He did not ask them what they want to tell the Prophet alayhi. So they went with him to the Prophet alayhi. When they got in front of the Prophet, he just remembered that, I did not ask these people what they want. The people started asking for the Prophet to make them from those who collect zakah. Is that lawful? To ask to become a leader somewhere, is it lawful? It's not lawful. So Abu Musa al-Ash'ari is a messenger of Allah. When they came to me that I should take them to you, I did not ask them what they want to say. What is Abu Musa doing? Now, he was removing himself from that. Is that giver? It's not giver. So that's why it is not in every case, oh, I saw him somewhere. I saw him somewhere. No, ask him first. Ask him, he will explain to you. You see, when you saw me there, it was because of this, it was because of this. One day, this brother that I had mentioned, one of my teachers, he taught me tajweed. I never forget. He wanted to travel to China to do a surgery on the eyes. So we went to the Chinese embassy in Abuja. At the time I was living in Kaduna. We went to the Chinese embassy and we were returning. At that time there was a big army stop by before you get into Abuja, before you come out of Abuja, before you come into Kaduna, before you go out of Kaduna. You can spend 4 hours on that road. That was at the beginning of evil crisis in the north. May Allah protect us. So we came very late into Kaduna. We left Abuja around 6:30. Normally by 7:15 you should be inside Abuja. I drive that road for 50 minutes when we used to drive, but now we don't know how to drive again now, so I think I can drive that road for 1.5 hours. But at that time I can drive that road for 50 minutes. If I drove it many times for 50 minutes. Between Kaduna and Abu. I'm sure some brothers will be hearing me now. They know what I'm talking about. In fact, that day when we were going, one of our brothers, Abdur-Raūf, he looked at the speedometer. He just lied down at the back. I didn't even take notice. The brother was saying, Ustaz, why are you lying down? He said when he looked at the speedometer, he was afraid. He wants death to catch him while he was lying down. He said that speed is too much. I laughed. So then we used to drive because that was our age at that time. I don't think I can drive like that again now. I used to be up to 200. Yes, ask Ikhwa who know. When I drive, I reach 200 like this. But now we have reduced it. We have reduced it. Where it goes past 120 now, we think that, let me reduce it. 120, reduce it. I used to drive 200. It's not, I drove 200 like I'm driving 120. So when we were returning from the trip, the point of reference, we saw one of our brothers, wallahi, very good brother. We saw him in front of the brewery at Nasarawa, if you know Kaduna. He was waiting there. We said, that bus stop was dark and there were harlots there. So I was the one who first of all cited him. I said, this is so and so person. He may be listening to me. He will remember that night. I said, this is so and so person. I just parked. When I parked, bad women came near our car. You know the way they behave. So he saw us. I was running. He came to the car too. He had to wait for the useless women to go away before he came to us. Say, what are you doing? Enter. He wants to start explaining. We say, enter first. Enter first. Get out of this place first. If you are discharging knowledge from inside a box, because you saw your brother in a bus stop opposite a brewery, and you saw harlots in that bus stop, what will box people say? Those making jafu water from inside a box, what will they say? But we know him. So we said enter. He started explaining. He was coming also, he mentioned where he was coming from. The bus broke down. Everybody came down and he became there at the bus stop. No bus came after that time. Because of insecurity at that time was high. So he said he was just begging, Allah, remove me from here. I said, Allah answered your dua. We removed him, we took him away to in front of his house. We went back home. We were living close by. The point is, it is not everywhere and every circumstance you see someone, you rule upon him because of that circumstance. It is not. You ask him, why did we find you here? Why are you here? In front of a brewery surrounded by the harlots. How do you rule that brother? He said it was just Allah, remove me here. Allah, remove me here. Allah, till he saw us back. So you can film him in the world of video now. You film him, you go and show it to his wives. La hawla wa la quwwata illa billah. If you behave like this. Say, see where we see Abu. He has 2 wives and Allah number of children. He's a big family man like all of us. You now film this brother in this circumstance, you go and put him on YouTube. Wallah, Allah will punish you. That's your hand with which you press it on YouTube. Allah will break the hand. It is the worst form of injustice you can do to somebody. You now come and say you are doing jafu wa ta'dil. This is not jafu wa ta'dil. This is at-ta'yir wal-ghiba wal-buht wal-namima. Buhtan, azim is what you are doing. Just because you saw him there, that's all. You go and start writing, and if Allah does not forgive, may Allah protect all of us. So the scholars of hadith ذكروا الفرق بين الجرح والتعديل يعني بين جرح الرواة وبين الغيبة. The scholars of hadith would always mention the difference between al-ghiba and what? Jarh al-ruwat. وردوا على من سوى بينهما من المتعبدين وغيرهم ممن لا يتسع علمه. And then they made a reputation to those who they equalize between ghiba and what? Al-jarh wa ta'dil. They say jarh wa ta'dil is ghiba. They say ghiba is what? Al-jarh wa ta'dil. On the other side too, there are people making ghiba. They call it jarh wa ta'dil. There are people making jarh wa ta'dil. The other people call it what? Ghiba. So there must always be the need to separate between the two. So the scholars refute those, the scholars of hadith refute those who mix up between al-jarh wa ta'dil, al-jarh ruwat, and between al-ghiba. Some people equalize between it. Say, no. There are two different things. There's jarh wa ta'dil. You do jarh wa ta'dil because of Naseehah for the ummah. You want the ummah to know a person whose hadith is acceptable or whose hadith is what? Unacceptable. But you make ghiba because you just want to bring your brother down. So when you video him, you put it on YouTube, ghiba. Why? You just want to bring him down. But if it is just what ta'dil you want to make, you ask him, Al-Farq, why did we find you? I say, subhanallah, he starts explaining. You make ta'dil and not al-jarh. May Allah protect all of us. Then Imam Ibn Rajab said, rahimahullah, we are going forward today, inshallah. It says, وَلَا فَرْقَ بَيْنَ الطَّعْنِ فِي رُوَاتِ حُفَّاظِ الْحَدِيثِ وَلَا التَّمْيِيزَ بَيْنَ مَنْ تُقْبَلُ رِوَايَتُهُ مِنْهُمْ وَمَنْ لَا تُقْبَلُ لَا فَرْقَ بَيْنَ الطَّعْنِ فِي رُوَاتِ حُفَّاظِ الْحَدِيثِ. There is no difference between two things. I'll mention one, then I'll mention the second one. The first one, he said, لا فرق بين الطعن في رواة حفاظ الحديث. Those who report a hadith and memorize hadith. It was a big job in the history of Islam. Whenever the Prophet said something, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, they heard it, they memorized it. One of those who did that a lot was Abu Hurairah radiallahu anhu. He wrote it down. He used to be called Hafizul Ummah. People heard it from him. People heard from him. So everybody has his documentation or memorization of hadith. These people. He said there is no difference between mentioning those of them that have faults. La farqa bayna at-tani fi ruwati al-hadith. There is no difference between mentioning the faults of those who report hadith. وَلَا التَّمْيِيزَ بَيْنَ مَنْ تُقْبَلُ رِوَايَتُهُ مِنْهُمْ وَمَنْ لَا تُقْبَلُ. There is no difference between that and mentioning those amongst them تُقْبَلُ رِوَايَتُهُمْ, that their reports are acceptable, وَمَنْ لَا تُقْبَلُ, and those that their reports will not be accepted. There is no difference. وبين تبيين خطأ من أخطأ في فهم معاني الكتاب والسنة وتأول شيئا منها على غير تأويل. So two different things. The first one, الطعن في الرواة. This one is مبتدئ. This one is ضعيف. This one is دجال من الدجاجلة. This one is كذاب. This one, يضع الحديث. This one, يرتب الأسانيد. Al-Imam Ahmad ibn Hanbal mentioned that regarding Muhammad ibn Waqid al-Waqid. He will have a matnu, he will create an isnad for that matnu. It is jarh. We say it is not ghiba. The Shaykh says this one, and وَبَيْنَ تَبْيِينِ خَطَئِ مَنْ أَخْطَأَ مِنْهُمْ. There is no difference between that and mentioning the errors مَنْ أَخْطَأَ فِي فَهْمِ مَعَانِ الْكِتَابِ وَالسُّنَّةِ. Mentioning the errors in the one that has misunderstood the Quran and the Sunnah. That is, there is no difference between mentioning those ruwat, jarh ruwat, and khata'ul ulama. Someone reads a hadith or he reads a verse of the Quran and he mentions it but the meaning is wrong. If you correct him, is it ghiba? No. It is the same thing like what? Jarh ruwat. What is the connecting factor between tabyinu khata'i man akhta'a fi fahm al-kitab wa sunnah? Explaining the error of the one who erred in his understanding of the Quran or in his understanding of a hadith, explaining that error, and explaining the error of a person who is not qualified to report hadith. There is something connecting the two of them. What is it? Now, what is it? He said, ذِكْرُ عَنِ الْإِنسَانِ مَا يَكْرَهُ. Is that what you said? You'll be mentioning about the two of them, what they like, what they dislike. Yes, that's correct. You'll be mentioning about the two groups of people, what they don't like. Ar-Rawi is telling you, Haddathani Fula, I say you, Kazzab, you are Kazzab. Will he like it? Right. If you mention it behind it, it may be riba. But we say it is not riba. Or a scholar, a learned person is explaining a verse of the Quran. Or he's explaining a hadith. For he erred in his understanding of that verse and in his understanding of the hadith. Then you start to explain that, no, Shaykh, what you have said is mistake. You start to explain it. Like someone says, there is nothing in the Quran that says that don't eat dogs. If he has any farm at all, this kind of a person has misunderstood أخطأ في فهمه للقرآن ولماذا وللسنة. It's خطأ. The same thing, if you are now explaining this خطأ, تذكر عنه ما لا يريد ما لا يحب. You'll be mentioning about him what he does not like. So if you are not careful, it can fall under ghiba. But why will it not fall under ghiba? Why will it not fall under ghiba? Now, because there is maslahatun li'ammatil muslimin. There is maslaha for all the Muslims. If you talk about a rawi, a reporter of hadith who is da'if, who tells a lie, we want to reject his hadith so that we don't put inside the religion what is not part of the religion. Okay, there is a hadith that is now sahih. There is a verse of the Quran. A learned person is explaining it wrongly. If you explain his error and prove that he is wrong, what are you also doing? You are also protecting the deen of the people, so that the people do not misunderstand his error to think that it is right. So it is nasiha. Yes, it is ذكرك أخاك بما يكره لكن تذكره نصيحة لعامة المسلمين. It is about mentioning your brother about something that he does not like, but you are doing that so that the rest of the Muslim will benefit that this is a mistake. So he said, rahimahullah, لا فرق بين الطعن في رواة حديث في رواة الحديث في رواة حفاظ الحديث ولا التمييز بين من تقبل روايته منهم ومن لا تقبل وبين تبيين خطأ من أخطأ في فهم معاني الكتاب والسنة وتأول شيئا. He had misunderstood the Quran and the Sunnah. وتأول شيئا يعني فسر شيئا. He is explaining the Quran with something منها على غير تأويله, in a manner that is different from the correct meaning of that verse. وتمسك بما لا يتمسك به. He is holding on to something that is not right, something scholars don't hold on to. That is what he is holding on to. Like someone says that Imām Malikiya, some scholars say he can eat dog. يَتَمَسَّكُ بِمَا لَا يُتَمَسَّكُ بِهِ. He is holding on to something that scholars don't hold on to, that kind of a statement. It's very sharp. يَتَمَسَّكُ بِمَا لَا يُتَمَسَّكُ بِهِ. He is holding on to something that scholars don't hold on to. You will explain his faults. تُبَيِّنُ خَطَأَهُ. You will explain that error. صَوْنًا لِلدِّينِ. By way of protecting the religion. وَنَصِيحَةً لِعَامَّةِ الْمُسْلِمِينَ. And by way of showing, expressing advice for the rest of the Muslims, so that they don't think that what he's saying is correct. Ibn Rajab said, لِيُحَذِّرَ مِنْ اِقْتِدَاءِ بِهِ فِيمَا أَخْطَأَ فِيهِ. So that you can warn against the people's following him فِيمَا أَخْطَأَ فِيهِ, regarding that matter that he has erred on. There is no difference between jarh al-ruwat and tasweeb al-khata'i al-mukhti. There is no difference between jarh al-ruwat and correcting the error of a person who went in an error regarding a matter in the hadith or in the Quran. He said, rahimahullah, وَقَدْ أَجْمَعَ الْعُلَمَاءُ عَلَى جَوَابِ ذَلِكَ أَيْضًا. The scholars are also agreed. There is ijma' al-ulama on what? If a scholar makes a mistake, you explain that mistake. He quotes a verse of the Quran, he makes a mistake to explain the meaning of the Quran. Say, that verse does not mean so. Ikhwa, two things are involved in this. To avoid people explaining error with another error. Two things must be involved. You know today, shaitan and hasad, jealousy and shaitan is pushing people now. So when they hear something, he has not understood what the other person said. He wants to give rubbish. So before you say someone has erred, وَتُبَيِّنُ خَطَأَهُ, you want to explain his error. What is the first thing that you must determine? تَحَقُّقُ الْخَطَأ. Is there really mistake? Has he really truly erred? Because people use waham to think that somebody has erred. You just think that he has erred. He has not erred at all. Let me give us a mistake, an example. In the mistake people make. Al-Imam al-Albani rahimahullah in a hadith in Al-Adab al-Mufrad, when he ruled upon a hadith, he said, Isnaduhu da'if. Imam al-Albani rahimahullah, the hadith of Jabir ibn Abdullah al-Ansari, under the chapter on Al-Zulmu Zulumatun Yawm al-Qiyamah, he ruled a hadith, he said, Isnad is da'if. I know what Shaykh al-Albani is saying. He said that this riwayah has a rawi in it. It has a reporter. That reporter is da'if. فَحَكَمَ عَلَى الْإِسْنَادِ. So the hukum is on that isnad. And he is correct, rahimahullah. There is actually in the isnad rawi da'if. Okay. But others amongst the scholars, they brought a shahid, a corroborating evidence for that hadith. That is the hadith when he said, alayhi salatu wasalam, يَكُونُ فِي أُمَّتِي خَصْفٌ وَمَسْخٌ وَقَذْفٌ وَيُبْدَأُ بِأَهْلِ الْمَظَالِمِ. You remember this hadith now. The hadith of Jabir ibn Abdullah al-Ansari. That hadith has a rawi that is da'if inside it. That rawi is called Muhammad ibn al-Munkadir ibn Muhammad ibn Munkadir. Muhammad ibn Munkadir is the tabi'i reporting that hadith from Jabir ibn Abdullah al-Ansari. His father is Muhammad ibn Munkadir. The son is Munkadir ibn Muhammad ibn Munkadir. When I explained that hadith, I said the hadith is sahih. One young brother, he has not known why I said the hadith is sahih. Oh. They started saying, please explain. What is the hukm of that hadith? He wants me to just say, hadith is da'if hadith. So sometimes people hastily point error where there is no error. Because of their own small knowledge. Sometimes because they have knowledge but hasad. Another example of that. Someone says, ilmul jarh wa ta'dil mabniyun ala al-ijtihad. The knowledge of jarh wa ta'dil that we have been talking about is built upon ijtihad. One alim will see you, he will say one thing. Another one will see you, say another one. It is ijtihad. So no, it is not ijtihad. It is not ijtihad. So what is it? And he will speak for days. He will not say one thing that it is. It is not ijtihad. So what is it? Ilmul Jarh wa Ta'dil is not based on ijtihad. What is it based on? Tell us who said what you say amongst the Imām. That Ilmul Jarh wa Ta'dil is not based on ijtihad. Tell us who said what you said. He will not say that. But you see, your head is not correct, your mouth is big, this, that, your neck is long, your trouser is short. He can be saying that. All of that will fall under ta'ayeen. It is not part of what? Naseehah. There is always difference between Naseehah and ta'ayeen. All that rubbish is under a ta'ayeen. It is not Naseehah. So the point we want to affirm, sometimes people hastily affirm error without affirming, looking at it properly to be sure that there is a mistake. When Imam Al-Albani said about that hadith, that it's not udayif, it's not udayifan. It's not udayif. Another person brought a shahid and said, Al-Hadithu Sahih. Hasan, yakbalu tahsin. He said Hasan. The other person said, Al-Hadithu Hasan. Shaykh Al-Albani said, Isnaduhu da'if. Is there a difference between the two or not? Is each of them correct or not? Huh? Is each of them correct? Shaykh Al-Albani said, Isnaduhu da'if. The other man said, Isnaduhu Hasan. Al-Hadithu Hasan. Al-Albani rahimahullah said, Isnaduhu da'if. The man said, Al-Hadithu Hasan. Is each of the statements correct or not? Which one? Now, the two of them are correct. The isnad is da'if, but the hadith has a corroborating evidence that shows that it is sahih. فَتَقْبَلُ تَحْسِينَ يَقْبَلُ تَحْسِينَ فَحَسَّنَهُ الْعَالِمُ. So he says, Al-Hadithu Hasanun. Al-Imam Al-Albani said, Isnaduhu da'if. So his own bahas is just about the isnad. The other man's bahas is about that isnad and what? And other things. Sharp, talibul ilm. Maybe speaking from inside the box. There, Shaykh Albani said that the isnad is da'if. You are saying that the hadith is hasan. Nobody is wrong amongst the two of us. So before you start saying one scholar has made a mistake, you want to correct him on Facebook, affirm it first that there's a mistake. The way to affirm a mistake is to bring his statement again back upon the Quran and the Sunnah and Athar Salaf. Put it on that scale. Put it on the scale. That will tell us whether the person made a mistake or you are the one thinking that he has made a mistake. Once we spoke here about dreams. We spoke about the dream of our mother Aisha. That a jinn was coming to her room. So one day she took an iron and attacked it and it died. She did not know it was a jinn. Maybe something looking like an animal or something. And that one was coming to learn from her. Radiallahu. According to the dream, that one said that I never came to you except that you were fully dressed, O Aisha. So when she killed that jinn, she had a dream that you had killed a Muslim. She said in her dream, she was reporting that dream to her father Abu Bakr as-Siddiq, because it happened after the death of the Prophet Muhammad alayhi salatu wasalam. So she was saying in the dream that you too, why are you coming to my room when I was not properly dressed? The jinn said, no, I was not coming when you are not properly dressed. You didn't come. There was no time I came there except that you are properly dressed. And I always come when you are teaching the rest of the people. So she woke up, she went to tell her father Abu Bakr as-Siddiq. Here was where we mentioned this qissa. One brother went to ask one of our own teachers, Ya Shaykh, some people are talking about dreams. Some people are what's wrong about that? Àwọn ọmọ ìyá wa kan, wọ́n ti ń sọ̀rọ̀ àlá. Àwọn ọmọ ìyá wa kan, àwọn ọmọ ìyá rẹ̀ ń sọ̀rọ̀ àlá. So what? What's the error in that? He wants the Shaykh to say that it was an error. So he went on. I listened to it myself. I wasn't told. So they were talking. He now heard from my Shaykh what he has not heard from me. You don't understand. What he now heard from the Shaykh was more than what he heard from me. The point here is, don't race to say somebody has made a mistake. Sometimes scholars will say something in a way that you may not know. They want you to think that they have made a mistake. When you are hitting the program, they will now deal with you. One day, one of our teachers, we want to observe Salah. One of the brothers was making Iqamah. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. The Shaykh was saying, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. You know, after that, what does it remain? For the Imam to ensure that the saf is properly made, and then he should turn and make takbiratul ihram. Go. The Shaykh started saying, Rabbana la tuzigh qulubana ba'da idh hadaytana. After Iqamah. But before that, he was saying, Allahumma rabba hadhihi da'wati tamma. After Iqamah. والصلاة القائمة آتي محمدا الوسيلة الفضيلة وابعثه مقامه محمودا الذي وعدته. He was saying that after Iqamah. After that, he was saying Rabbana la. He was just making dua. Wallahi, I was there that day. I didn't like it. Say, why is Shaykh making dua again? Is this one adhan? But that time, we don't have the boldness that young people have now. Wallahi, I couldn't ask him that. I couldn't tell him that. I say, this one is bid'ah. I thought that it was bid'ah. But he Shaykh upon Sunnah. Until it was from a book that he borrowed me to read at that time. I'm talking about 2003. 2003. Abdur-Rahman, where were you in 2003? Ibn Mas'ud, 2003, where were you? Maybe some people inside the box are still inside the box. That's that. 2003. That book was As-Samarul Mustafa by Al-Imam Muhammad Nāsir Al-Albani. 2 volumes. We read it A to Z. Bali to Bali, there's a brother here who knows if Abu Sakina is here. That we used to read it together. If you read volume 1, I read volume 2. That time, 2003. Some people are just looking for Samarul Mustafa with Abu Abdur-Rahman. Please be gentle, be quiet, be that thing you think is new, it's not new. Wallahi, it's not new. It was inside it we saw that there are explanations from scholars with that same hadith that after the adhan we should say salatu ala nabi. The hadith occurs in Sahih Muslim. We should say salatu ala nabi. Then we should say Allahumma rabba hadhihi da'wati tamma. Because the Iqamah is also what? Adhan. And the evidence that Iqamah is also Adhan occurs in the hadith of Abdullah ibn Mughaffal al-Muzani, that the Prophet said, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, Bayna kulli adhanayn salatun. So the Prophet called the Adhan. He also called Iqamah what? Adhan. So it means whatever we can say after the first Adhan, we can also say it after the second Adhan. But that time we were young. We were young to be able to, if it is today, it is on Facebook that our Shaykh will see himself. Yesterday I prayed, I was opportune to visit one Shaykh. In fact, they can mention your name. I slept in the house. Wallahi, this Shaykh, I slept in his house many days. I read many books inside his house. That's where I will sleep. That's where I will eat breakfast. That's where I will eat dinner. This person, wherever he is, may Allah forgive him all his shortcomings. The only place he will lock is the door that leads from his parlor to his room. I was free. All his books were to me. I stayed there 2 days, 3 days, read books. That time we didn't have money to buy books. This one that I'm saying now is 90s, 97, 98. I will leave school. Me, I'm studying geology. I will leave school, go and sit down with Shaykh. Studying. Jami Bayan al-Ilmi wa Fadli. That was where I read it, in his house. Tamamul Minna. Tasheeh al-Dua. Shaykh Khalil Harras. He had a ta'liq on Al-Aqidatul Wasitiyya. Ibalatika. And Imām al-Albani's ta'liq on Al-Aqidatul Wasitiyya Ibalatika. We always have issue when we came out. We will sit down, talk. Sometimes we will not eat breakfast till 11, 12 o'clock. We are talking about knowledge, reading. What is this, Shaykh? What is this? What is this? What is this? This is 97 now, 98, 1990, not 2097, 1997. Abdur-Samad, where were you that time? In 1997. Lam takun shay'an madhkura. 1997. The reason why we mention some of these things sometimes is sometimes everybody should know where to put himself, know where he belongs. May Allah protect all of us. The point here is, don't be in a haste to say that a scholar has erred. Let me mention another issue. That one will take a long explanation, so let me leave it. I remember one more point. Don't be in a haste to say, after all, it is Nāsihah lil-Ummah. We started the... Be careful. An easier thing for you to do is to ask that person, Shaykh, or Ustad, or Abu Fulan, I heard you say so. Do you have something I can read? Do you have explanation for this? Another Imam said this. What do you think I should do like that? Ask him. If he has additional knowledge, wallah, he will give you. Just be mannerly with him. Because some of the scholars, if you are not mannerly with them, they will close the door to your eyes. So you want to benefit from my knowledge and you are talking to me like this. In fact, they just cut off the phone. Salaam alaikum salam. So if you want to do that, be mannerly. Ask him, Ustad, Abu Fulan, may I prefer Abu Fulan? Masruq ibn al-Ajda. When Shutayr ibn Shakalin was referring to him, what did he call him? Ya Aba Aish. May I like that one? Abu so, I like that one. How is this matter like this? If he has an additional, he say, yes. It is true that so person explained this verse like this. But that explanation is wrong because of this. The explanation that is right was given by this. Because of so. In fact, sometimes the scholars will have the same view, but they will arrive at that view from two different angles. Ikhwa, did you hear this? The same view, but they will arrive at the view from two different points. Should I give us an example? The Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. There is a hadith of Abu Hurairah radiyallahu anhu. The Prophet said sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, there are three things. Jiddun fiha jiddun, wa hasnun fiha jiddun. If you are serious about them, it is considered serious. And when you are joking about them, it is considered serious. Meaning, don't joke about them at all. The first one, nikah. So don't tell to a young man, I married my daughter to you. Say, no, I'm just joking. No, the marriage is established. Yorubas do this a lot. You have your friend come to your house. Brother Rajab, brother Fatah. He sees your daughter, say, Fatima, Fati, say, how are you? A nice girl, beautiful girl. He say, you like my daughter? I can marry her to you. Don't joke that kind of a joke. Because if you tell him that you marry the girl to him, she becomes his wife. Oh, Allah, you have given him sigatul act. Don't joke with marriage. The same thing, don't joke with talaq. Don't tell your wife, Umu Abdul Fatah. She said, nah, I'm Abu Abdul Fatah. In fact, do you know what I want to do today? What is it? I just want to divorce you. He said, Abu, what happened? He said, no, sorry. I'm just joking with you. You have already divorced her. In the matters of talaq, there is no play, no joke. In the matters of nikah, there is no play, no joke. The same thing. A man who has divorced his wife now says, I'm not taking you back. She not say, Alhamdulillah, I'm just joking. يَتَّخِذُ آيَاتِ اللَّهِ هُزُوًا. So it will afflict him. This hadith is da'if, from the hadith of Abu Hurairah radiyallahu anhu. This hadith is da'if. Like this isnad is da'if. Now, Al-Imam At-Tirmidhi in Sunan At-Tirmidhi, the hadith occurs in Sunan At-Tirmidhi, it occurs in Sunan Abi Dawud, it occurs in Musnad Al-Humaydi, it occurs in Sharh Al-Sunnah by Imam Al-Baghawi, and other masadir of Sunnah. It occurs in Sunan Ibn Majah. Al-Imam Al-Daraqutni also reports the hadith. This hadith we are talking about. So in Sunan Al-Tirmidhi, Al-Imam Al-Tirmidhi rahimahullah said, وَعَلَيْهِ عَمَلُ أَهْلِ الْعِلْمِ مِنْ أَصْحَابِ الرَّسُولِ. This hadith, the companions of the Prophet have taken to that view. They are working with that hadith. That if you joke regarding those three things, it will not be considered as a joke, it will be taken seriously. So he said, وَالْحَدِيثُ فَالْحَدِيثُ حَسَنٌ غَرِيبٌ. So the hadith is Hasanun Gharib. What he has done is, the hadith is weak, but he has authenticated it using the views of the companions of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam as a supporting evidence for the weak isnad. So the hadith will become what? Hasan. That is what we generally refer to as what? Hasanun li ghayrihi. Is this clear to us? How did he prove it? He got the hadithun da'if and what? Amalu ashabi rasuli alayhi. Fabihima hasan al-hadith. The hadith is hasan. This is one way. Al-Imam al-Albani also thinks that the hadith is hasan. But look at the way he proved his own. He said that isnad is da'if. But Al-Imam al-Hasan al-Basri has reported the same asar like that, in that meaning. That during the days of the Jahiliyyah, a man will divorce his wife. يُطَلِّقُ أَهْلَهُ أَوْ زَوْجَتَهُ. He will divorce his wife, and when she says, طَلَّقْتَ, you say, كُنْتُ مَازِحًا. I'm just joking. I was joking, don't worry. So when Islam came, the Prophet stopped it. This is hadith mursal. Al-mursal ma yusniduhu at-tabi. Ma rawahu at-tabi'i mursalan. What a tabi'i reports without mentioning the companion. Hasan al-Basri is tabi. He's not a companion. How can he be telling us what happened in the days of Jahiliyyah? So it's mursal. And the marasil of Hasan al-Basri, the scholars say they are shubhur rih. They are like wind. They are worthless. وَإِن صَحَّ إِلَى الْمُرْسِلِ. Even if it becomes sahih up to Al-Hasan al-Basri, who has done irsal. This is the case in this hadith. The hadith from this isnad of Al-Hasan al-Basri is sahih ila al-Mursil, ila al-Hasan. Ibn Abi Hasan. But it is mursalun wahid. It's mursal that's like mawdu'. Karrih. like a wind. What is the weight of wind? No weight. It is with this that Al-Imam Al-Albani made tahseen of that asar, of the hadith. The two roads end in the same ruling, but the two roads are not the same. One is right, one is wrong. That's part of Al-Imam Al-Tirmidhi is clear and right. The other one, Hasan al-Basri, is making irsal. Mursalun, Sahihun min Hasan al-Basri is la yutabar. It will not come into the ahadith that are employed to make taqwiyah. To be thrown away. It is shubhurri, as if it does not exist. So what will remain? That is not, that is what? Da'if. I am saying sometimes the scholars will pass two different roads. They will arrive at a particular destination, and each of the roads, one will be right, one will be wrong. But the natija is correct. So many things happen like this on the path of knowledge. The scholars say, to explain these things, it is part of An-Naseehah. That, hey, yes, the hadith is Hasan, but what this Imam said here, no, it will not be correct like that. But what At-Tirmidhi said, yes, that is what we depend upon. Is this matter clear to us? Let's come back to our text. Al-Imam Ibn Rajab bin Hanbali said, Rahimahullah, وَلَا فَرْقَ بَيْنَ الطَّعْنِ فِي رُوَاتِ حُفَاظِ الْحَدِيثِ وَلَا التَّمْيِيزَ بَيْنَ مَنْ تُقْبَلُ رِوَايَتُهُ مِنْهُمْ وَمَنْ لَا تُقْبَلُ. There is no difference between mentioning the faults of those who report hadith and separating between those who report hadith. Those of them whose hadith will be accepted and those of them whose hadith will not be accepted. We know that this is love. It is from An-Naseehah and it is not Ghibah. The same way this is love. The same way this is An-Naseehah. The same way this is not part of Ghibah. أن تبين خطأ من أخطأ في فهم معاني الكتاب والسنة. To explain the error of a scholar who would have erred in his understanding of the Quran and the Sunnah. وتأول شيئا. The scholar would have explained something على غير تأويله, in a manner that is different from the correct explanation. وتمسك بما لا يتمسك به. He'll be holding on to something that he should not hold on to. This kind of a thing, there is no difference between it. I'm talking about those weak reporters. Why? The two of them, لِيُحَذِّرَ مِنَ الْإِبْتِدَاءِ بِهِ. You want to warn the people not to follow him in that error. فِيمَا أَخْطَأَ فِيهِ, regarding the error that he has made. وَقَدْ أَجْمَعَ الْعُلَمَاءُ عَلَى جَوَابِ ذَلِكَ أَيْضًا. The scholars are also agreed. If a scholar explains a hadith and errs, and we explain that this explanation of this hadith is wrong, or he explains a verse of the Quran and errs, we explain that no, that explanation is wrong. We are not making a diva. What are we making? We are making Naseehah. Why? So that the people do not understand the religion of Allah, something that is an error. It is Naseehah, it is not diva. ولهذا, this is the reason why نجد في كتبهم المصنفة في أنواع العلوم الشرعية. We will find in the books that the scholars have authored في أنواع العلوم الشرعية, in the various branches of the sciences of the religion, من التفسير, including the sciences of tafsir, وشروح الحديث, and the sciences where ahadith are explained, wal-fiqh, and in the matters of al-fiqh, واختلاف العلماء. There are even books that the scholars have written about differences of opinion. وغير ذلك ممتلئة من المناظرات. You see, all these kinds of books are filled with munazarat, arguments and intellectual discussions. You see, this one say, no, this hadith is sahih. So I say, no, this hadith is not sahih for so reasons. Some people say it is sahih, but they don't have a proof. Why? For so reasons. You see all these kinds of intellectual exchange of knowledge. in the books of the scholars. The books are filled with them. Filled with it. This one said this one is correct, so say no, it is not correct. There are books written for that. Imām Ibn Abdul-Barr, when he wrote Al-Istizkar is just to tell us about khilaf, nothing more. He may not even make the jihad in it. Ibn Abdul-Barr was a 4th century, 5th century scholar. He has a book in 25 volumes. It is telling you about ikhtilafu a'immatil amsar. He tells you it al-istizkar. He wants to tell you what the scholars in the various cities have said about a particular matter. This is inside. Everybody wants to make Naseehah. This one is wrong. No, this one is right. No, this one is wrong. Oh, this one is right. It is like that too in tafsir. Mention any book of tafsir. Any book. The scholars will tell you, yes, it's right here, it's right here. He erred here. I have a book in about 120 pages in the errors of Al-Imam Ibn Kathir in his tafsir. 120 pages. His love of the file. 120. This Ibn Kathir said this and he was wrong. Ibn Kathir said it and he was wrong. And Imam Al-Qurtubi has errors like that to think that he said that he was wrong in them. Someone compiled the errors of Al-Imam Al-Zahabi in Siyar Alam al-Nubala. Tell me who does not have errors. Tell me. Al-Imam Ibn Abi Hatim, Muhammad ibn Idris, he has a book, Akhta'u al-Bukhari. That's the title. The mistakes of Al-Imam al-Bukhari. In which of his books? Tarikh al-Kabir. Al-Imam al-Bukhari has a book, Tarikh al-Kabir. Ibn Abi Hatim has a book, Akhta'u al-Bukhari. The mistakes of who? In Tarikh al-Kabir. Not in Sahih al-Bukhari. Before somebody hiding inside a box now, pick it and say, I want to say who are you? You know when you hide inside a box, they may say something, you'll be hearing double because of echo in the box. May Allah protect us from the fitna of the people from the box. So there is not a scholar except that he has an error. Nobody except the Prophet Muhammad. One of those who said what I have said now was Al-Imam Malik. He says, مَا مِنَّا إِلَّا يُؤْخَذُ مِنْ قَوْلِهِ وَيُرَدُ. There is no one amongst us except that sometimes we take what he said, at another time, what do? We throw what he said away. Except the Prophet Muhammad. Anabi nìkan ló bọ́ nínú àṣìṣe. Alayhi salatu wa salam. Alayhi salatu wa salam. Otherwise, there is nobody. There is nobody. Nobody. In terms of knowledge, you will have mistakes. It is like that in other sciences too. It is like that in physics. It is like that in chemistry. Those who came later will correct those errors. The haphazard zigzag movement of molecules when they are in space. What is it called? Brownian motion. Does he have problem or not? Dalton's atomic theory. Does he have problem or not? It's knowledge now. It must have problem. People will come back and say, I know this so. Albert Einstein, does he have problem or not in those equations? In his astrophysics. He has problems in them. That is how knowledge is. As long as you are from the children of Adam, whatever you do, perfect it very well. Though. When people come, they will look at you and say, this there is mistake here. You didn't see it. You think that it was perfect. The only thing that does not have mistake is Al-Quran. Because it is from Allah subhanahu. And it is guaranteed that errors لا يأتيه الباطل من بين يديه ولا من خلفه. Errors will not come to the Quran. Sahih al-Bukhari, Sahih al-Muslim. This ummah is agreed that they are dependent good books containing ahadith al-Sahihah. Then there are other books. So there is nobody who does anything except that you find errors in it. One of our brothers, he will always say, if anybody is always pointing out to people's errors, just send me one of his audios. Anyone, one class. We will pick out his errors inside. One, any class, anything that he said, 30 minutes, send it. Before you finish that 30 minutes, say, this one a mistake, this one a mistake. So that's how we are. The issue is that when your mistake is small, we will not be calling you an error person. Why? Because the mistake is huge. This is what we struggle to be, to reduce our mistake margin. But there's no mistake. Allah didn't create that human being. Abu Bakr as-Siddiq, one day, his slave did in some report it said that when they came for Hajj, the camel carrying the money and food and drink of Abu Bakr as-Siddiq got lost from the hand of that slave. Abu Khadija, how will that be? You are going for Hajj. Your camel carrying your food and your money got lost. What will happen to you? If you don't have Abu Bababik, if you don't have a strong backup, there will be trouble. So he was asking the slave, where is the camel? The slave is saying, he wants to shalaye as you say. Yeah, alayo. He was annoyed. Radiyallahu anhu. He was annoyed with that slave. When the Prophet came there, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, you know what he said to him? Siddiqu la'an. Should we say somebody is Siddiq and then he's cursing somebody? Siddiq la'an. Will Siddiq also be talking like this? What does that tell you? It meant that Abu Bakr as-Siddiq was saying some things to that man. So when Rasul came alayhi salam, hey, Siddiq la'an. Can the Siddiq also be the one causing some like that? So tell me the person who does not make a mistake. Tell me. There is no such person. The Prophet himself said, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, Kullu bani Adam, Fattahu. That's evidence that everybody is making mistake. Unless you are Abu Adam. But you are even Adam, Anta man, Fattahu. Not that you will make mistake once, you will be making mistakes. So for the Ummah to explain those your mistakes is part of what? Naseehah. It is not part of what? Is this one clear to us? So that was why it says, وَلِهَذَا نَجِدُ فِي كُتُبِهِمُ الْمُصَنَّفَةِ فِي أَنْوَاءِ الْعُلُومِ الشَّرْعِيَّةِ. You will see in the books that the scholars have compiled in the various sciences, min at-tafsir. Ibn Taymiyyah rahimahullah, he has a book in 2 volumes. I have it. If I mention a book, I have it. So, when we were younger than this, our own teachers encouraged us to use their own library. So if I say a book, if you want to see, come to my house, I'll welcome you, inshallah. You read the book and you give me my book and you don't go away. But I don't see students don't have time for that. They can press phone till tomorrow. And then they can say, we'll check it on the internet. If you are browsing it on the internet, Google will bring something that will distract you. We have followed learned people to programs. They say something, say, Shaykh, you said something, say, Tabadili, when we get home, I'll show you. Because books are part of knowledge. Al-Imām al-Shāfi'ī rahimahullah in Al-Muwāfaqāt, he called it the second of the 2 wings of a student of knowledge. People are many on the internet, Talibul Ilmi. He does not have Tafsir Ibn Kathir at home. He does not have Kutubu Sitta at home. No Bukhari, no Muslim, no Sunan al-Arba'ah. If we say check something in Muwatta now, Kuni Muwatta, Koriri, Kori Muwatta, only next, Nyoka Mapetira Kawa Turkorenje, Muwatta. Right. He has Muwatta, the riwayati Abdullah ibn Wahab. I have Muwatta, the riwayati Man. Ibn Qanabi. Abdullah ibn Maslama. Ibn Qanab al-Qanabi. That riwayah is out now. There are 9 riwayats of Muwatta. 9. Muwatta, Yahya ibn Yahya al-Laysi. Yahya ibn Yahya al-Tamimi. Abdullah ibn Wahab. 9 Muwatta'at. Now, who can go to Muwatta? Or if he says Bukhari Muwatta, he thinks that Muwatta is like there is one Sahih al-Bukhari. But Muwatta is many. It's the same Muwatta Malik, but riwayats are different. Because Al-Imam Malik wrote Muwatta over a period of 40 years. So when any student comes, it is the copy that he has that he will copy and go with. When you come, you copy your own, you go. Over 40 years. So I know 9. When we say check it in Muwatta, the riwayah of Ibn Wahab, you don't even know the meaning. The first wing of a Talibul Ilmi are his teachers. Your first wing, if you want to fly as Talibul Ilmi, how many wings do you need? 2. The first one is what? Good teachers. The second one is what? Good books. If you have good teachers, you don't have good books, you have a problem. That's your bird will not fly. Students of knowledge, can you hear this? Good teacher, no books. When we do not, there's something called Malam Yache. You are going to become Malam Yache. You know Malam Yache? Afawa Wipe. You don't have anything. Everything you want to quote your Shaykh. Everything you want to quote your Shaykh. Which one did you read? In addition to what Shaykh told you. So you need good Shaykh. You need good books. That's a question. How do you know good books? Your Shaykh will guide you to good books. All those books have been saying. Did you not hear me say, one of our Shaykh said this, take this, one of our Shaykh said this. Shaykh guide you to books. If you are learning from somebody who does not show you books, don't go to him again. He wants to enslave you. What did I say? If you learn from somebody who does not give you books, he's reading from a copy, you have your copy. Don't go to him again. Don't go to him again. So when you ask, Shaykh, this matter, where can we find it? Say, just quote me. You. Okay? Say, Madam, this matter is the hadith where you don't say that you heard it from me. So for example now, today we said, the Prophet said, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, in the hadith of Abu Huraira, 3 things. Jiddun fiha, jiddun, wa hasdun fiha, jiddun. You go back now, they say, where did you see it? You know what I'll tell you? Don't say you saw it in Abu Dawud, Tirmidhi, Ibn Majah, Humaydi, Ad-Daraqutni, Al-Baghawi, all of these books that I'm citing. Over there. So instead of quoting those books, say, Abu Nāsir, you saw. Don't be like this. Don't be like, write those books down. Go and check it. Good students. Go and read about it. That's the essence of telling you where those things are. You go and read it too. I was describing Sunan al-Tirmidhi. I said that's Sunan al-Tirmidhi. There's a book. After it, this, that. Should you not look for that book and have a copy and then you check it by yourself? Student of knowledge. Student of knowledge on Facebook. inside the box. Ikhwa, go back to books. All of what Ibn Rajab was saying here, look at that third paragraph. He said, وَقَدْ قَرَّرَ عُلَمَاءُ الْحَدِيثِ هَذَا فِي مَاذَا فِي كُتُبِهِمْ. Then here he came again. وَلِهَذَا نَجِدُ فِي مَاذَا فِي كُتُبِهِمْ. How can you be learned without books? It is common now. You find somebody, did you learn Nahu? He say yes. Which book did you learn Nahu with? He does not know. Hey, come, you learned Nahu? He say yes. Which book? With which book were you taught Nahu? Say I don't know. Ah, you don't know. Did you learn Sarf? Yes. Which book did you study on Sarf? Did you learn Akida? Now, which book did you study on Akida? What? People like that should be catched. We catch them, we flog them. We'll be like Umar bin al-Khattab. We will not just make it be up to 10, but we will flog them. We ask you, which did you learn Sarf? Yes. Which book did you learn on Sarf? What? Did you learn Tajweed? Yes. Which book did you learn on Tajweed? What is idea? Catch him, flog him. He deserves to be flogged. Egba. If it were in the time of Omar, that is what he would do. You learn Nahu, you didn't learn it. Flog him. Flog him. I gave an example yesterday. I'm going to stop here. A brother who wants to marry a sister. He went to her father. They saw him as a good man. Ah, mashallah. Beard, well combed, white cap, blue guinea, fine design. Maybe he went with Abu Abdur-Rahman and Mufti, Ikhwa, everybody. They say, mashallah, mashallah. They like him. They allowed him. The woman is veiling. They called her, they unveiled. She saw the face. He saw the woman's face. Mashallah. I like her. But hijab is good. Mashallah. He likes the sister. So they asked him, when are you coming for the nikah? He said, let me carry along my daddy and mommy. Okay. So he left for home. They allowed him to speak with the girl because the nikah for them will be next week. So they phoned him, the father of the girl phoned him, Abu, if I say Abu Abdullah now, I would have looked for trouble. Abu, what should I use? Abu Khadija. Abu Abdullah, please, when are you coming for the nikah? He said, sir, I'll come and see you tomorrow. You come and see me tomorrow. Tomorrow, true. He dressed, but this time he went alone. We are ready for the nikah. Are you not ready? He now starts scratching his head. You are not ready. Ikhwa, what should we do to this kind of a man? Wallahi, we should flog. If it's Umar meets you, Umar will flog you. And we actually saw an answer on it. A man divorced his wife 1,000 times. Umar said, catch him, flog him. Radiallahu anhu. Catch him, flog him. You are divorce is only how many? 3. And those 3, you can't utter the 3 in one single sitting. You only utter it once in one time. You wait again, one again, you wait again, one again. He is telling his wife, I divorce you. Was he drawing the suba? I divorce you. I divorce you. I divorce you. I divorce you. Umar said, flogging. And you know why? يَتَّخِذُ آيَاتِ اللَّهِ هُزُوًا. So that flogging is تَحْذِيرًا لَهُ, warning to him, but it will not be up to 10, because it is not hajj. And the Prophet said, alayhi salatu wasalam, don't flog somebody up to 10, unless it is hajj. Hajj is a legal punishment. If it's not up to legal punishment, it will not be up to 10. Maybe we give him up to 9. 9 years, not up to 10, Abi. But you can manage 9. 9 better. Okay. So we'll stop here, inshallah. Bismillah, we'll read further in the next class. It is Naseehah to the Ummah that we know somebody who is not capable of giving evidence to explain this person cannot give evidence. It is Naseehah to the Ummah. Somebody is reporting hadith as a liar. Say, Kazab. It is Naseehah to the Ummah. Somebody is explaining a verse of the Quran. Say, no, that verse is not like that. It is Naseehah to the Ummah. It is not from the aspects of Ghiba or At-Tibyān or no, it is not. Why? We want the religion to be protected. We don't want your own misunderstood understanding to become a matter of the religion that people will be worshipping with. The religion should remain pure as Allah has revealed. I hope that this matter is clear. And we have gotten another difference between An-Naseehah and what? At-Tibyān. We can stop here. Can I have 1, 2? A maximum of 3 questions. Can we have questions? 1 question. These days we don't ask questions again. We have understood all what we say. Alhamdulillah. What is the ruling concerning a phone engineer who has people's phones with him? Most of them are not working. After some time he relocated and he did not know how to locate the owners. You should not have relocated without returning the phones to their owners. If you want to relocate, as you are thinking about packing your luggages, you must also be thinking about what? Returning the rights of people to the owners of those rights. So it was not lawful for you to relocate without returning the phones to their owners, or giving a notice on your place of work. We have moved with the phone number with which they can get you, because sometimes actually relocation may become imminent immediately without plan. By that, you write your name and your number, you put it in front of your office. Please, if you need this, you can put a number of a brother you know there. So when they call the brother, they will go and meet him. You have traveled. They will go and meet him to collect the rights of the people. The Messenger ﷺ did that before Hijrah. When he was making Hijrah, he returned the rights of people to them. You know he was Al-Amin. They used to keep things with him. So when he wanted to make Hijrah, he returned the rights of the people to them. The ones that he could not return, he kept it behind with whom? In report it said with Ali ibn Abi Talib. Is that clear? But in case in all of these you did not do that, so how do you do? Come back to that town. Give yourself a period of 3 days or 5 days to give notice in that same place, so that as much as possible you will still be able to return the phones to their owners. Or the person who has taken over that store, you can write a note on the ground for him. If anybody comes to ask of you, instead of saying that you are no more here, you should say, do you have a phone with him? What's the proof that you have a phone with him? They show you the proof, you give them their phone. So these are things that you can do as a way out. Allahu Akbar. Shaykh, why is Marasil of Al-Hasan al-Basri Karrih? And the Marasil of Sa'id ibn what did you write? Sa'id ibn al-Musayyib accepted. You want to start a class in Ilm al-Hadith, you know. Why is the Marasil of Hasan al-Basri Karrih? The scholars have studied it. And they have understood that when he makes irsal is, instead of mentioning the name of the companion who gave him the hadith, he will just mention the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. They found that when he does that, he has actually taken that hadith from a weak reporter They discovered, oh, when each time he makes irsal. He makes irsal and duafa. If you find out those people that he has not mentioned, they are duafa. Some of them could even be wadda'if. So they are not people that you can rely on. The scholars have found out like that. So that's why they gave that rule. So why is it that the marasil of Sa'id ibn al-Musayyib are accepted? Laysa al-itlaq. There is no hadith mursal that is accepted bil itlaq. To say once Sa'id ibn al-Musayyib has a mursal, it's muttafaqun alayhi, it is hadith sahih. La. Ala sahih. You must have qara'in. You must have shawahid that will make taqwiyah of the mursal hatta in kana li Sa'id ibn al-Musayyib. Yes, there's a madhab like that among some scholars who say that marasil al-Sa'id hujjah. But this, their statement itself, ulama have issues with them. Any mursal must have i'tibar. Any mursal. Because according to Imām Muslim in his Muqaddimah, every hadith mursal is da'if. So if it is da'if, what is it that will make taqwiyah of it? If you want to remove the mursal of Sa'id al-Musayyib, is it not mursal? It is mursal too. So what is it, the hujjah that removes its own? So there must be qarina, there must be an indicator that will make us understand that this irsal from Sa'id, yu'tamaduhu, it can be relied upon. There will be other things that will support it. But just that it is mursal, no. Then the question is Hasan al-Basri a weak reporter? Hasan al-Basri is Imām. Is thiqatun. Is a reliable reporter. He reported a hadith from over 79 companions of the Prophet Muhammad. His mother was righteous. His father was righteous. His mother was a servant of Salama radiallahu. He used to be taken to the house of the Prophet Muhammad. Alayhi salatu wasalam, Al-Hasan al-Basri. He is a well-known scholar of hadith and fiqh and sunnah. Well-known. And he was heard amongst the scholars at a point in time in Al-Basra. That was why he was ascribed to Al-Basri. Rahimahullah. Very, very learned. He was also learned in the sciences of tafsir and lugha. And he was known with ibadah. He was a reliable reporter of hadith. You see muhadithun now. I am praising him now. After I just said this marasil da'ifa. Muhaddithun, you place everything in its place. Where the man got it right, you say he got it right. Where evidences show that he was wrong, you prove that he was wrong. Waqul ashya fi amakiniha. That's the meaning of wisdom. I think we can stop here because of that. Like I said, you want to start a new science here. It is not launched within 5 weeks, or 3 weeks, or 1 week, or 5 minutes. And Imam Shafi'i, when he told us those things we need to learn, he mentioned 2 things last. Those are the 2 things we don't pay attention to today again. What are the last 2 things he mentioned? Suhbatul Ustad wa tuluz zaman. Find a learned person to be with, to learn with, you learn. Al-Imam Abdullah ibn Zubayr al-Humaydi, the first person al-Bukhari mentioned in Sahih al-Bukhari, he was with his teacher Sufyan ibn Uyayna for 19 years. 19. When Ibn Uyayna died, he went to meet Shafi'i in Egypt. When Shafi'i died, he left, he returned to Makkah. It was when he was in Makkah that Al-Bukhari reports hadith from him. That was the Salaf. They remained with a scholar learning from him. Not just going about with him without taking from his knowledge. The qaida is once you are with a person of knowledge, you want to learn. These days, you are with a learned person, you want to gist. Don't gist with him. Learn from him. Many of us want to turn our teachers so we are gisting. And he will be looking at you. That's what you want. You'll be gisting with you. Inside his mind, this one is a fool. Let me stop here. Subhanakallah wa bihamdik. Ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu.